Did you know that Unreal Engine can be used for things other than video games development? Well, if you didn't, I want to show you what is Unreal Engine capable of. Now let's go to the unrealengine.com website, and here we have multiple tabs, and I'm gonna just skip games tab because this is very well known, and I particularly love enterprise projects. And when someone says enterprise projects in Unreal Engine terms, that means that those projects are basically anything outside of video games, and the enterprise area is growing very fast, and now we have subcategories of enterprise category. So we have architecture, automotive and transportation, broadcast and live events, film and television, training and simulation, more uses, and etc. etc. So let's go through these tabs, and let's go to architecture first. All right, so we have Twinmotion. I'm not gonna go through that because I'm not that experienced with this one, but let's go to architecture, and we have like every single of these categories, like architecture, automotive, etc. Even these subcategories have their own subcategories. So architecture can be divided into architectural visualization, civil engineering, construction engineering, maybe even digital twins, but digital twins kind of cover more categories or areas. But one of the key factors in which Unreal Engine and like in general game 3D engines were lacking and falling behind compared to your standard offline rendering engines such as V-Ray, Octane, Corona, Redshift, and those kinds of rendering engines. Yeah, Arnold as well, and many more. But basically, the engines that I've just mentioned are so-called offline rendering engines, which means that you make your scene, you set it up, you animate it, and then you press render button or whatever, and you render either still images or sequences or videos or maybe something else. But basically you have to wait for the process of rendering to be completed, and this is not done in runtime, okay, or real time. Sorry, I meant to say real time, although both expressions are correct. However, video game development engines such as Unreal Engine, Unity, Godot, and other game engines, but I personally only use Unreal Engine. Okay, so I'm gonna stick to Unreal Engine because it's just the best. All right. Anyway, these engines are running in real time, which means that you don't have to wait for rendering process to be completed. You can have the output, the visual output, being ready in almost instant, in runtime, okay? And yeah, very big factor when it comes to comparison between offline rendering engines and real-time rendering engines is optimization, because you can get away with unoptimized scenes all with offline rendering engines, although you would want to optimize them as well because you want to save rendering time for your render farm or whatever. But for rendering engines, for real-time rendering engines, it's a little bit different. They get better performances. They they need optimization more. But anyway, not to go off topic and not to go into too much detail, like I said, even architecture category can be divided into multiple. And the key thing that I wanted to mention between offline rendering engines and real-time rendering engines is that real-time rendering engines used to fall behind when it comes to visual fidelity and visual quality. However, there was a massive progress during recent years, and now I think it's fair to say that real-time rendering engines, Unreal Engine in particular, can yield the same visual performances, or actually yield the same visual fidelity results just like other offline rendering engines. Although you gotta be skillful in order to achieve that, but anyway, real-time rendering engines are not falling behind anymore on that front. And also, one of the things that I really like about Unreal Engine in particular is that no matter on which project you work, whether that would be architectural visualization, game development project, some kind of configurator, whatever, if you have your assets ready for Unreal Engine, that probably means that all of these assets are most probably compatible with your other types of projects. Like I said, if that's a video game, some kind of configurator, maybe animation, film, whatever, if you follow Unreal Engine standard, you should be good to go. All right, so architecture, like I said, I love architectural, like civil engineering, construction engineering. I've personally done one very interesting project about a year and a half ago, when I had to create a city concept within Unreal Engine 4. And I'm working currently on many more similar projects. But anyway, that is architecture in a very high level explanation. And let's go to the other category, which is automotive and transportation. Okay, so automotive, we have here digital cockpit development. To be honest, I didn't deal with this, but it's self-explanatory. You can build all kinds of apps. And also, yeah, very important thing about Unreal Engine is that compared to other 3D packages that you would be using for, let's say, 3ds Max, Maya, Blender, Cinema 4D, whatever, Unreal Engine allows you to output any kind of format. If you want to output images, you're good to go. If you want videos, you're good to go. If you want 360 panoramas or 360 images, you can do that as well. VR, compatible. Windows application, compatible. iOS, web is very interesting, because if you use pixel streaming technology, you can basically allow any device that has any sort of modern web browser to access your apps. But I'm gonna cover that in separate videos. So yeah, Unreal Engine is very wide when it comes to platforms that it supports. So like I mentioned, I forgot to mention VR, AR, MR. I've definitely forgot to mention some of them. Yeah, Linux as well, and yeah, I've definitely forgot some of them. But it's very robust, very capable when it comes to coverage of platforms. Automotive, I would personally highlight the the capability to make something like a car configurator. I love car configurators because even business use case in this particular usage is kind of obvious. So you can have, let's say, a car model. Let's say someone is selling cars and they offer their customers to have different packages of their cars, such as different rims, different tires, maybe different painting or something else. And in that case, you can build an app, which would be car configurator, and then users, potential buyers of those cars would be able to use application which is built on top of Unreal Engine, and then they can use that real-time 3D interactive app in order to configure their cars. And yeah, like I said, this is my personal favorite, so car configurator. And also you can also make you can also develop simulators, look development studios for rendering movies with using sequencer or whatever you feel like. Even something like cross platform things, such as having video game with cars. But okay, I know that this now goes back to video games category, but yeah, showrooms, these are things as well. So this is kind of for marketing purposes, doesn't necessarily have to be configurator, so you can have them just placed as they are in nice environments and render them, or output videos, or basically anything, like I said, any kind of platform. All right, let's now go to the next category, which would be broadcast and live events due to pandemic. As you know, many companies have tried to use this technique or technology. This is self-explanatory. Like by the way, even before pandemic, it was being used, but pandemic and quarantine situation made it like fast forward a little bit for months or maybe even years to push it. But yeah, like you see for yourself on the website. I think this is self-explanatory, but such as news broadcasting, special TV formats, such as these studios. I remember that this technique or technology was used for although you gotta forgive me because I'm not the biggest football fan, but it was used for championship in Russia a few years ago, if I remember correctly. Dmx Sample Project. This is something similar. So if you have something for DJs, if you're a DJ or some kind of live performer, you can use Unreal Engine as well, or have someone develop an app for you. Weather reporting. Oh, this one was famous. This one went viral a few years ago. So this was for tornado, I think. Basically, Weather Channel reporting. As you can see, if there's a flooding or fire, here you can see how in an interactive way they can these broadcasters can demonstrate what's actually happening, so that if you're watching news, you can get more sense of what is actually happening and how important that can be, how scary or how dangerous potentially. So also learning classes can be done in Unreal Engine as well. These also fall within live events or broadcasting category. So let's say that For example, you can have a virtual classroom, and you can be as a teacher on one hand, sorry, I meant to say on one side, and your students, pupils can log in and be with you within your app. This would be some sort of multiplayer experience, similar to video game, but you won't have so much interactivity. Or you can set up that as well. Now let's go to the next category, and that would be film and television. And actually, what's interesting, films used to be solely done in standard 3D packages such as 3ds Max, Cinema 4D, Maya, and etc. etc. But sometimes pre-visualization and concepting and staging can be done within Unreal Engine in a quicker way, and producers would use that for quick prototyping, for basically like a sketching the scene, like I said, prototyping, trying things out, and then you can convert that scene or just get it back to your standard 3D software that you would use, like I said, 3ds Max, Maya, Blender, whatever that you're using, with offline rendering engine. So you can get your scene back in that and render the final shots in that, or as I would do personally, I would just keep it all within Unreal Engine so that all of my assets are compatible and I only have to deal with Unreal Engine pipeline. But anyway, Unreal Engine is flexible. It can be used with other software, or can be used as a standalone, like all-in-one kind of package. But yeah, like I said, it's very flexible, and the pipelines are different compared to from use case to use case, from company to company, and stuff like that. Training and simulation, I've briefly touched on that, but this is very wide topic, and this in particular is ever growing. We have definitely, as you can see on the trailer here, we have VR use cases, AR use cases, desktop apps, and for example, one of use cases would be that you can use apps like this when actual training is very expensive. Let me give you one example from top of my head. Let's say that you need to train a soldier or train a medical staff on some of the things, and the training sessions for these kinds of jobs would be either very expensive or dangerous, and you can relieve that amount of resources that you would otherwise have to spend. You can offset that by using something like a training or simulation app, which you can of course build with Unreal Engine 4. And when it comes to simulations and training apps, realism is very important in order to make the experience more believable, because otherwise training would not be as real. And yeah, it's very extensive and also adaptable, or you can extend it with if you are using for things like this, you would probably want to use something like external controllers, special devices. So you won't be using just your simple mouse or keyboard, but you would use some kind of maybe special gloves for soldiers, or some kind of head-mounted displays or whatever, and you can connect them with Unreal Engine as well, and do stuff with that data that is being streamed. And you can also return some data back to device as well. And this was our pre-last category, and actually it was the last category, and we have also this additional tab which is called more uses. Like I said in the beginning of this video, enterprise used to be like a separate category, but it is ever growing, and as you could see on the website unrealengine.com, we have categories becoming ever large and increasing by literally every day, and people and developers are still exploring additional use cases for 3D graphics in overall, let alone for Unreal Engine. And yeah, I really love using Unreal Engine for non-video game development projects, because I used to work primarily with 3ds Max using offline rendering engine, which is called Corona engine. But since like 5 years ago, I made a decision to switch everything within Unreal Engine and keep it all like standard. And yeah, this has saved me time, money, resources, and yeah, when it comes to business, I'm gonna talk about Unreal Engine and business in particular in other videos, but I think I've covered many things. I just wanted to make people more aware that video game development is not the only thing that you can do with Unreal Engine, and like you've seen already during this video, you can do many things. And I think that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and definitely make sure to stay tuned, because I'll be making more similar videos in which I'll be explaining and going through some of the business use cases when it comes to Unreal Engine. And yeah, they're gonna be separate breakdowns and analysis. And yeah, like I said, I hope you're enjoying this video. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.